Hi again, Hanover. For those who haven't seen my presentation this morning, my name is Charlie and I work at Wikibase Solutions. And this morning I talked a little bit about OpenCSP and creating a knowledge base for that. And today I will be talking about one of the extensions that comes with OpenCSP, and the extension is called FlexForm. There have been some updates, so I want to chat about that a little bit more. I'm going to turn off my video just to make sure that I don't get any internet issues. So FlexForm is a form rendering extension for MediaWiki. It's been around for a long time. And the reason we created this form extension is that we needed an extension that was highly customizable through CSS, through JavaScript, or whatever we needed for our customers, but also to be able to build forms dynamically based on certain things in templates. It should show certain fields or not. So, and by now it's become a very extensive extension. So what's new in version 2.6, I think already? We've updated Select 2. Select 2 is one of the things we use for tokens and whatnot. So we've updated that to the latest version. We did some fine-tuning. I never found any bugs, or I never call them bugs within FlexForm. I call them features, but sometimes features change. So those have been changed or fixed, whatever you want to call it. There has been a debug mode within FlexForm since version 1, but it's undocumented, and we've enhanced it a little bit more, and it might become very handy for other people as well. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And we've approved the forms for large wikis. We have some wikis that have, I don't know, 500,000 pages. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, what we've done there to make sure that that works really well. So approved forms. That's one of the features that FlexForm has, because a FlexForm can be added to any source of a page, be it a template or a normal page or whatever, but you can add forms there. And because you can add forms, it might also be a security risk, because you could create a form that would create a lot of pages, or add a lot of pages, or remove a lot of pages, or empty a lot of pages. So we've added a approved forms part to FlexForm a while ago. And that's a setting you can turn on, and which is turned on by default. Means that only people in a certain group of users can actually add a FlexForm form to the content of a page. Whenever they're not in one of those allowed groups, like a sysop or whatnot, then the form will just never be rendered. Now that's that's a really nice feature. The only problem that we had is, if you have a wiki that has 500,000 pages, FlexForm needs to know on which page there is a FlexForm, so that it can actually say that people, and then check if people are allowed to use it or render it, yes or no. So we've changed that completely. So when the setting render approved forms is enabled, only forms that have been approved or validated will be rendered. And as I said, that can only be done by people that are in the allowed groups setting. If FlexForm cannot be rendered, it will show a text message or either a forbidden sign, depending on what your config settings are. And there's a special page to manage those approved forms. If you go to the special FlexForm page, there's a menu, and you can see all the forms, the FlexForm forms that are in your wiki, and on what page they are, or there might be more on one page than just one form. And it'll show you if they're validated yes or no, and you could even validate or unvalidate them from that special page. So what we've done is we now store the validation or non-validation in a database. Previously, when you went to the special page, it just looked through all the pages in your wiki and then showed a table of which forms are approved or not. But if you have 500,000 pages, that's going to take a while. So we now store it in the database, And if you have like a huge wiki and you want to have a lot of FlexForm forms on there, there's now a maintenance script that will actually go through all the pages and then fill the database. So it kind of syncs with the database. And then you can go to the special page and work from there. And after that, you don't need to use that maintenance script anymore, because with every page edit or page creation or whatnot, the database will be updated to say if a form is validated or not. So we've done that, and that works really well and makes the special page very quick as well. So that's a very good improvement, I might say. So I'll talk a little bit about the debug function. As I said, it was an undocumented feature since version 1. If you go to the settings of FlexForm, you can actually, there is a setting called debug, and you can set it to true or false. It's not in the documentation, and we might add it to it, but I'm going to show you anyways. So if you turn on debug, what it will do, it will show everything that FlexForm does when you submit a form. By everything, I mean virtually everything. So it will show you, it will show what data is coming in. It will, because there's a checksum on everything as well, so it'll show you the checksum, it shows you what it's doing with it. Every single step is there, and there's also some timing there. So if there seems to be a certain part of whatever FlexForm is doing, and it takes a while, you can actually see why or where it takes a long time. The other nice thing, and the reason why I'm telling you this is what we see in practice is that you kind of reuse an existing form, for instance, and it has like 50 fields or whatnot, and then you add another field, but you name it the same as one of the fields already in the form. So then when you submit the form, you get results that you are unpredicted. You don't know why, but apparently you have two elements in a form that have the same name. So the last one that is in the form will be actually the value that's returned. That's the way HTML works. And now you can actually go through it. You can see, okay, what is FlexForm receiving? What is it doing with it? And then you can actually see that it's, has the wrong value, and then you know where to search for. So there's a lot of nice features there that you can use, and the debug can be very long. We have FlexForm forms that do a lot of tasks. They might edit a page, create a page. Well, there's a lot of things. It might send an email, it might upload images, and it could all be in one form. So that's one of the reasons the debug might be handy, because you can actually just see the flow of what FlexForm is doing and where there might be a problem. So that's a really nice feature, I think, and I thought it was time to share that with the world, and it will be in the documentation very soon. So that was a quick update, I know, but it was some really nice features, and because we talked about OpenCSP this morning, and FlexForm is part of that, I thought it made sense to tell a little bit more about FlexForm. So here are some links to the documentation where you can find it on GitHub, and there's some support channels on Discord and Element. And I don't know if anybody has any questions, then now is the time.
I think we have time for one question. If there's questions, if not...
I'm not hearing anything, Tim, so...
I don't know if there's connection. Is there a connection between us and the room online? No?
He's muted.
Where is Tim?
Yeah. Should be at the bottom of the screen.
I don't see nothing here on this one. I also am not really a Windows user. Okay.
Top right, Fenster erweitern Review.
Okay.
So I'm guessing there are no questions?
I mean, I don't know how to unmute this. I have no idea. Yes, I don't know how to unmute your thing, and apparently there's no connection between us and him, yes, so it's no idea.
I'm sorry. Down here is a hidden.
Okay, great. Charlie, you can just go straight into your next talk because you have also one more. And in the meantime, maybe people will have thought of some questions. Does that sound like a plan?
That sounds like a plan to me, yes.
Great, let's keep going. We have 12 more minutes for you, so 10 minutes talk and then we have some minutes for questions. Thanks.
Sounds like a plan. I'll load up the other presentation. Can you see my screen? Well,
Yes.
all right, good. Well, I can introduce myself again, but that's going to get boring real soon, so I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to talk about a really small extension called WSTextInsights. And we've created that. Well, let me see what I have on the next page. There you go. Why WSTextInsights? It has to do with parsoid. Basically, what WSTextInsights does, it checks for parser functions that you might have inside your wiki and show you some details about which ones are not compatible with new versions of parsoid. One of the things that we encounter a lot with our wikis, we have a lot of wikis, and we use extensions like variables, array, or WS arrays, and they're going to be incompatible with the new parsoid parser. It's probably not going to be with 1.4.3, or it's not really at with MediaWiki 1.4.3, but the version after that, that will be for certain an issue. So we wanted to have a look at how much work we need to do for certain wikis, because we didn't have any idea how many of those parser functions we use throughout a wiki. So we needed to have something that would tell us that, you know, this is going to be a lot of work, or this is going to be easy for this wiki. So TextInsight, it just searches for a couple of parser functions inside all the pages you have in your wiki. And by default, it looks for var, array, CA, and complex array, the ones that we use the most as being parser functions that will not be working with parsoid anymore. But there's also a config setting where you can actually add new ones that you know that will not be compatible with parsoid, and it will search for them as well. And what it does, it's a maintenance script. So it's set up as an extension, but it is a maintenance script. So you just run it, and it will give you a total of pages that you need to do work for. So for example, the var, I think it's the var is one of them. Everything that we do currently with the var parser extension, we rewrite to Lua. So we know that if we have 300, if we use the var extension 300 times, that's going to take a lot of work for us to rewrite that as Lua functions. It's not just a simple search and replace. For some others, they might, but most of them do not. So you get a good idea of how much work you need to do for certain wikis. So this extension will most likely be useful for people that create pages for other wikis, for other companies. So you create wikis for other companies, or you have a lot of wikis yourself, and you have concerns about what pages or what functions will not be working with parsoid anymore. And then at least you get an overview. So as I said, it's a really simple extension, but we're going to release it. So if people need this or want this, then they can have it and use it. It's simple, just run it, and you get an overview of how much work it will take you to get compatible with parsoid. That's it. Most likely, not many questions again, because it's straightforward. Probably one question is where to find it. What I'll do is it's going to be on GitHub, and I'll probably communicate that in Element and Discord for starters. But if there's any more questions, then I'd like to hear them.
Thank you. The floor is open for questions. I currently don't see any. No, looks good. Yeah, then thank you very much for your talk. And
No problem at all. Good to see you. Bye-bye.
We really need to record that applause for you and send it you there.
Oh, yeah, I can't hear that, but I'll have a look on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, that could
Thanks
work.
everybody for your time.